Welcome to the Inner Hoe Uprising, the podcast about sex, love, and dating from the perspective of me, Sam, one black, non-monogamous, pansexual feminist hoe who's double cheeked up, double masked up, and whose pronouns are she and her.
And me, Rob the God, one agender feminist firefighter with a fatty, pronouns they, them, and daddy.
And me, Rodeka, one fat, black, pansexual, polyamorous femme, whose life is a series of coincidences that somehow landed her here, and my pronouns are she and her.
And Akua, pronouns she and her, one demisexual baddie. That's what's going to be today.
Oh, you're going to be like, recently fucked.
Didn't want to share that just yet, but that's fine.
Do you want me to cut that out?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Sorry. On this episode, we're talking about, would you run a background check? Oh, sorry. Every episode of the Inner Hoe Uprising works like this. Myself and my lovely rotating co-hosts talk about sex, love, and dating as it pertains to current events in the world, our lives, and yours. And occasionally we hit you with interviews with insightful folks or do deep dives on an episode topic of our choice. On this episode, would you run a background check on your Tinder date? A foray into couples therapy. Why does everyone on Twitter pretend like they date ballers? Semen on the blood clot moon, reflecting on sex, love, and dating in a pandemic, and much, much more.
And if you would like to follow along with the conversation had in this podcast on social media, you can do so by using the hashtag InnerHoeUprising so we can see it, and the hashtag PodIn so other people can see it.
If you would like to follow us on social media, you can do so at Inner Hoe Uprising without the G on Twitter, at Inner Hoe Uprising with the G on Instagram and Facebook. You can use our Facebook group. You can join our Facebook group by searching Inner Hoe Uprising Community. That is CUMMUNITY. And you can head over to innerhoeuprising.com to pay a hoe.
If you're freaking with the vision and down with the vibes, do us a favor and hit subscribe. This is for the people on YouTube. If you're supportive of the hoes and want to see our success spike all the way up to the top, do us a favor and click like all the way at the bottom of the video. If you want to keep the conversation going during your time spent, do us a favor and comment with your thoughts, opinions, well thought out criticisms, and much more. And please, please, please click that like bell. Otherwise, you're going straight to hell, but not the hell that's in the Call Me by Your Name video. The bad hell, not the bad hell.
Not the one that's lit.
Not the lit hell.
Not the one with the stripper poles.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
On a trash hell.
And if you want to pay us to speak virtually at your school or conference about sex positivity, black feminism, podcasting, or other kinds of topics we discuss on this here show, or to have us host a consent, pleasure, or dating virtual workshop for your organization, we would love to do all of those things. So to book us, you can send us a line to ihupodcast@gmail.com. That is in the show notes. Let us get into our first segment.
Grandma, yeah. Are you a hoe?
Are you a hoe is the question of the day, and the answer is yes for these very special four people. Hoe of the week is where we shout out homies who have given support to IHU in the past week. Hoes of the week get special nicknames, and the game, if they choose to participate, is to guess the meaning behind their nicknames. So this week we have Emily L, aka Big Blue, who became a patron on Patreon. We got Susanna M, aka Montgomery, who paid a hoe and said, "I love paying a hoe. Thanks for your content." You're welcome, Susanna. And also, thank you, Susanna. We got Don H, aka Shipka, and we got Iris V, aka Rainbow. Also, shout out to Corey C, aka Dropkick Murphy, who won. He guessed the meaning behind his nickname. And I think that's the first one that's ever happened.
What was the meaning behind his nickname?
Oh, this is fun. So Corey is I think on the episode that I shouted him out, I mentioned that he's in a band. An alternative band, and it's in Boston, right? So he's like also into that alternative scene. And honestly, like I Google people's names when they fucking become a host. So I like use that to make their nicknames or whatever. And I saw a footage of him getting drop kicked on stage at an alternative show.
Whoa. That's fun.
Wow.
That's a fun deep dive right there.
Yeah.
That is a wormhole.
And then the band Dropkick Murphys are from Boston, and he's from Boston. So I felt like that was very fitting.
And he guessed that? Well, I mean, yeah,
did
he'll
guess.
remember the drop
he knows
kick.
his life.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Oh, that time
it's
I got
memorable.
drop kicked off stage.
But if he got drop kicked at a drop kick Murphy show, would that
At
be
a-
like Inception? Drop kick.
Now I gotta
Inception?
Google some footage of people getting drop kicked at Dropkick Murphy shows.
I'm
They
sure
have
that
to.
exists.
He didn't, but I don't know. I don't really know their vibes, so
It has to exist. If it doesn't, we're gonna make it exist.
we have to
Yeah, with a name like that.
open up the world so we can specifically go to a Dropkick Murphy show. Who's
Get
doing the drop
drop-kicked.
kicking? Oh, we're getting drop kicked.
Yeah,
Everyone.
we're getting drop kicked.
You want to drop kick me, Rob? I'll sack
You can
I'll
drop.
be-
You can drop kick me.
Okay, somebody.
I
has to
haven't
do the
gotten drop
sacrificial
kicked in
lamb.
a while. It's been some time.
Okay. On the next episode, find out more about that shit. Well, if you would like to become a hoe of the week and get a cool nickname, here are some things you can do. 1, you can get drop kicked off the stage. 2, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can feature us in an article you've written. You can shout us out on social media. These are non-monetary ways you can support us. We love monetary and non-monetary support. And we understand that in these uncertain times, monetary support is not feasible for many folks. So please do not spend your last dollars on us. Put you and yours first. But if you can spare some change, you can donate to us on PayPal by going to paypal.me/innerho, or you become a patron on Patreon by going to patreon.com/innerhouprising, the links to which are in the show notes. Also, a reminder that if you do become a patron on Patreon for $2 a month, you can participate in things like our Slack chat and our patron-only film nights. And for $5 a month, you can join our Monday night Zoom hangouts. Any tier, you can receive access to our episodes a few days early, entries to our workshops, parties, pre-episode chats, all that kind of good stuff. There's tons and tons of goodies on Patreon. So let us get into the actual show.
Today. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Thank you for that suggestion, Akua. That's perfect. Okay, Fuck Is This is the segment where we discuss, rant about, or laugh at nonsense in the realm of sex, love, and dating that exists on social media and the like. Fuck is this today, Rodeka?
So I saw a post on the Shade Room the other day, and I just thought I wanted to talk about this. So basically, it was a tweet, a couple of tweets, and it went like this. We went to a basic ass restaurant yesterday, and a girlfriend invited her dusty ass nigga to join us. I had 2 $5 Moscow mules, crab, and artichoke dip. My total was $24.58. This nigga tell the waitress 2 checks, please. I told her he dusty and broke. Anyone who knows me knows I'm honest. I don't entertain dusty men, and I wish she wouldn't too. The top comments I thought were also equally as funny. It's I'm paying. That's our girl too, which that's the energy. Which okay, sure. All I read was I ain't got money for my own food, and my man, my man ain't paying for anyone else. And my favorite one, because it's the one that I thought of when I first saw it, was I just want to know which restaurant is serving $5 Moscow mules. Which that's the real question there, because there's a story.
Love story. Love story.
It is love story. Don't advertise that. People are gonna pull up like, yo,
Facts.
where the file? I heard it on IHU. Damn.
Like, oh.
They have very cheap drinks. That's all I got.
So my question is just, we're acknowledging that we make up shit like gender roles and we make efforts to bend and discard them, but are we still expecting to pay for niggas for us always? And then am I whack because I be paying for niggas sometimes? Is that some whack nigga energy right there?
Rodeka was supposed to do this on the last episode or like 2 episodes ago, and I actually like
wrote in
a comment and I was like, yeah, you are. Then I deleted it because you got sick.
Yeah, and you're like, that's not the time for you to be reading how whack you are.
But I took a screenshot of it just in case you got sick.
True friendship.
I'm just kidding though.
Oh man.
I don't care about stuff like this anymore, personally.
Yeah. I be broke. So like a lot of the time I be understanding that other people are broke. And I'd rather just people say like, well, first of all, in the original like story, I'm like, I wouldn't have expected my partner to pay for the other person that's with me. That's just like automatically, even though he was the invite or they were the invite, like why would I invite you to something that I'm doing with someone else?
Who invited who?
It's
like me and you decide we're going to Fridays, and then I bring my nigga along, and now you're expecting my nigga to pay.
Yes, that's the circumstance.
And it's like, but if he didn't come, who was gonna pay for you? Me? And knowing in my friendships, probably, but like,
It's
Why
not an
did you bring
expectation.
Why did you
Yeah.
bring your nigga?
That's another question. It's a bit between the two of us, unless you ask,
And then
why'd you
also,
bring him?
like, one, I don't believe this person. I told that nigga he's dusty and broke. No, you didn't. Stop lying on Twitter. Why?
and that's the thing. Like,
Anybody who knows them knows they're honest.
He's dusty
y'all
and
are
broke in
all
front of
at
me.
Applebee's, nigga.
Like-
There ain't no liquor in that Moscow Mule. Son. Applebee's don't put no fucking liquor in the drink. That's why it's $5. You're all at Applebee's. You're all dusty and broke. We're all dusty and broke. Like, come on.
And there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that your meal total, first of all, this seems like a fun meal, and it was less than $30. You're not at a rich place. No one here is lavish. I get it. It's just like very strange to me. And like, am I really whack for paying for niggas sometimes though? Like, because that is a valid concern.
No.
And I just need to know if that's just something I shouldn't do.
Rebecca, you are
It's not whack.
No, it's not
holding
whack.
it down.
Just
Just holding it down.
Niggas
okay.
just hurt, bro. I'm like, yo, I'm playing the game wrong, son. For 2 weeks, because all I saw was this little yes next to it, and I was like, damn, son, Sam not even gonna talk to me about how whack I am. Yeah, my bad.
There's a certain argument to be made, and I don't care about any of these fucking like gender roles, like who pays for what type of arguments. 'Cause I do feel like it's very personal in whatever like economic status you're in and the people you're dating, and also it's super heteronormative in the first place. But like, there's an argument to be made that when you're out on a date, if you're a cisgender woman and you're out on a date with a cisgender man, then the man should pay because they make, I don't know, 75 cents. We make $1 to their 75 cents, and shit like that. But then it changes based on like race dynamics and stuff like that. So I get when like certain women are like, men should always pay because we are less economically advantaged. And there was like that video with Saweetie who was like, I'm taking care of the kids. I'm home all day. I'm doing this, da 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 da. So you're pampering me because I'm doing all of the housework and stuff like that. So I get it in those instances. But in general, it's just like, don't people like to treat the people who they love with nice things and vice versa? Like, why does it have to be this sort of competition kind of thing?
Yeah, and I like, even in what you were saying, I know that as the partner, I'm not doing any of those things. You're coming back in the house and I'm in the same exact position you left me in. So how do we work with that? I'll pay for some food sometimes. Yeah, that sounds like maybe sometimes I pay for some food because it's none of that. I'm under a pile of clothes. I didn't fold any laundry. I didn't do anything. So no, I learned who I am as a person at home, and it's none of those things. So yeah. I'll have to pay for these niggas' food sometimes.
It's the episode title though. Am I whack for paying for these niggas? Gotta make that a poll on Instagram.
And all it is just a resounding yes, and I'm embarrassed.
Yes, and
but let's not do that.
Yes, and parentheses.
Yeah.
Any other comments or thoughts about this before we move on? And that's exactly what Twitter fodder is. Empty. All right, we're going to get into our next segment. Yes, the dystopian world that we live in. All right, this is our segment called Fuck That. It's where we talk about current events in the realm of sex, love, dating, gender, and all that kind of good stuff. Cool, what's going on?
Well, first, Tinder will now be, will soon be allowing you to do background checks on your matches and your dating later in 2021. Hold on, I can't see any glasses.
Oh no. Did you say I need glasses? Haha.
Oh, sorry. Me and my eyesight. Okay, so the owner of Tinder, which I didn't know, good thing we do research, is actually called Match Group, and they also own Match.com, OkCupid, Hinge, and probably some others. And they recently announced that they're partnering with Garbo, which is an up-and-coming nonprofit woman-founded tech and background check platform. So a part of this partnership, a part of really basically the Match Group is investing into this platform. If you go on their website, which is garbo.io or something like that, there's nothing there yet. So they are building something, and a part of this investment will give access to Garbo services to people, users of the Match Group apps, starting with Tinder this year and then rolling out to the others as they flesh it out. Garbo, which I thought was so funny, is short for garbage.
Garbage.
which the owner says it describes the current systems for background checks, criminal justice system, and survivors of violence field, let's say. And I was like, I love that. I love that. It also reminds me of Harbo, which is like the gummy bears thing. And yes, makes me happy all around. And it was founded by Catherine
Cosmides.
Thank y'all. Who is actually a survivor of gender-based violence. I believe her pronouns are she and her, but I'll use they. They were stalked and harassed by a partner who they met on a dating app at one time, and which then fueled this this project, this endeavor. So the purpose of Garbo is to make it easier to find information about people you may connect with online by aggregating the numerous data sources and providing you, the person looking, with that information, including arrest, convicts, restraining orders, harassment charges, and other violent crimes. Garbo also reports that they are working with racial and gender equality groups to make sure that the inequalities of the justice system does not dominate their searches. So the information that will be pulled is what they consider violent crimes, like what I have suggested, and will not include charges for like drug possession or traffic violations, which we know disproportionately affect marginalized people. So there isn't much information on how this will look as it rolls out. And I'm guessing because they have not figured that out, they're fleshing it. So I'm wondering, like, will it be a feature that's built into the apps? Like you slide to this or you click on something and then all your matches run through, and that sounds so complicated. Technology just be like, how does that work? But nonetheless, app builders, they'll do that. Or is it like one article that I read speculated like Tinder will do that work for you and then let you know that this person is trash, that you've connected with. I don't know if that means that they will then kick them off. And I'm like, I need to see how this actually operates in real life. But right now, also on the Garbo website, there isn't much there, but they claim that through their site, as they build it and flesh it out, all you will need is a first name and a phone number. You will not need to know the person's last name, which when you do try to do your own background search, you'll need like a first name, a last name, and like a zip code, depending on what you're searching. So I want to know you guys' thoughts on this. I mean, I have used the National Registry of Sex Offenders back in the day to just make sure someone's name doesn't pop up.
I didn't know that about you, Akua.
I got kids. Just can't be having you around my
You
child.
certainly do. You have one child, but
he has 4 people. Okay. So I want to know, have you guys ever like run a background check? What do you think are the pros of cons of like adding this to online dating?
So Tinder right now, they have 2 kind of like security features already in place. That Moonlight thing, which is it does location. So if you do meet up with a person, you click that. I don't know. I never used it because I don't be meeting up with these niggas, but I don't know if it's a separate app or it's built in, but I'm pretty sure it's built in. But it'll like track your location while you're on a date. So just in case something happens, like, you're just not out here lost in the world. It also has a feature where you can video chat on Tinder. That way you don't have to give out any of your information, because that shit does suck, especially when somebody starts wilding out for respect and it's like, how do I stop talking to this person? And on Tinder, all you gotta do is unmatch them. So I guess with having a feature like this, considering how well they rolled out these security features, it probably wouldn't be very painful like for a user to use, especially because more than likely they'll just make you put in like your actual name and information when you sign up for Tinder. That way they cannot track you. But I fuck with it because I don't think I've ever came across somebody who was violent on dating apps, but it really do be happening. obviously a lot of people have horror stories, a lot of things on the news where people are actually getting like real life killed. So it's really not something to take lightly, especially now when everybody's cooped the fuck up and very eager to get out and meet people. So I'd use it if I ever used a dating app. I also didn't know that it was like one nigga, well, one conglomerate nigga who owned all of these fucking companies. It's basically like the same dating app remix.
Probably not at first. Niggas. They probably like acquired it over time.
But now it's one
capitalism.
Nigga.
It is really one nigga. So like Hinge also has that video feature that you're talking about.
And Bumble.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Everybody's lucrative and smart.
I wouldn't have an issue using this. I do have concerns about how it will roll out and stuff like that. I think I like the fact that they're thinking about racial justice and like not including things like drug offenses and all that kind of stuff. But I do wonder, and this is me just thought experimenting it. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just curious. Like, you know, those instances where it's like, oh, I'm 17 and my partner was 18 and we traded nudes and now I'm a sex trafficker, not a sex trafficker, I'm a sex offender for life. Like, I wonder where those people would come up and how that would affect their lives and things like that. And then just in general, like, since many people are talking about restorative justice and, you know, not penalizing people for one thing for life, what if somebody did straight up like rape somebody and then like 10 years down the line they're a different person? Do they like, is that a lifelong consequence where that follows them on dating apps, like that episode of Black Mirror where John Hamm was blocked from everybody for his whole life? Sorry, spoiler alert, but that was an old episode. So it's just things that I'm thinking about.
That was one of my cons. I felt like it could create a power imbalance and calls into question like the right to disclose, much like you're saying. If someone does pop up on the sex offender, registry, or well, now we're talking about Tinder and this background check, something is flagged. What if they were, finding a way to broach that or to, because of the stigma and the consequences that come with it? What if I was arrested for, prostitution and was not sure how to bring that up as it has, legal consequences for me? That can kind of be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not galvanizing, but it creates a vulnerability that we don't really, I guess you consent to it if you use the platform. Like now they'll let you know, and it's like, all right, if you want to use this platform, you have to be open to allowing us to get your information. And all of this is public record anyway, whether I'm using it through Match Group or I get to clicking with my fingers, it is all public record. I don't know. That was my con. That was my question.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that come up as the world becomes less and less private, which it just is becoming. And it's just something to think about.
And I was going to say, you don't always want like a quick hookup or even somebody that maybe you had a couple conversations with and you don't really have an interest with them for further. Now they have a lot of access to your information in general. And it's just like, damn, I was just trying to get some puss. I wasn't even trying to get to know everything about you and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's the right to disclose and whether or not you want to bring that up to a person. But also I'm being a devil's advocate. I definitely think it's just like, if you're someone who's not willing to share this information, and that's like a hard thing for me where I don't want to be involved with someone like that, whatever your criminal history is just like, technically I feel like people have the right to know who they're involving themselves with. So it's definitely a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I don't know. People have the right to know who they're involving themselves with. They certainly do, but that right is it's just very different now because that didn't exist like 200 years ago before
that's true.
The internet existed. So
now we feel a little bit more entitled to like, well, it's available, so why can't I see it? Yeah, it's weird.
Have you ever, this is a sharp left, not that sharp, but I saw a meme that was like when you like hook up with somebody and they see your computer screen and it's the Prezi presentation they made in 4th grade, kind of just like getting at like the deep dives that you do on people. So have you ever like went to hook up with somebody and like you saw on their phone or their laptop like your Facebook or something that you just did not give them, but it was evidence that they had been stalking you on the internet?
I'm not gonna front. I would really like that, to be honest with you. Like, I would be like, man, this person's really into me, and so because I do shit like that. As soon as I, and that sounds so bad. I know, and that's why I'm like, I'm admitting the fact that it doesn't mean any of that. But that's the first. I'm like, you wanted to stalk me, but like not in a good way, but just like, wow, you were looking me up and wanted to know everything about me. But because I've done that, but I've never seen someone else like doing that on me before.
I walked into this nigga's crib and it was just like time to have sex. So we moved over to the bedroom and his laptop was still open and it was my Facebook page. And I was like, wait, is that mine? And he interrupted me and he was like, I did look you up. I did.
So stop right there before you say anything. That's a good question, Rob. That's the real question. Did you still do it?
Did you still do it?
Why wouldn't I?
I was just making
How did you feel about that, Sam?
I was like, oh, a nigga of my ilk. Like, I do that
too. Exactly.
I'm not a fucking noob. I don't leave it open.
Yeah, I definitely I delete all traces. So just in case I do go, oh, let's add each other on Facebook. I don't want to type in their name and their name pops up.
Yeah.
So I delete all traces. I delete all Twitter traces, like anywhere I can find them, because I'm not like, I'm not getting caught slipping.
Yeah.
But the thing about me is that my name isn't on fucking anything. So you can only find me if you go very hard on Interhole Uprising fucking podcast and actually scroll through like the captions, because I'm not even tagging any of the pictures. Like you have to exactly the most to find me. So if you do find me, I'm gonna be fucking concerned.
Yeah, that's kind of scary at that point.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else about this? No, you had some resources, Akua.
Oh yeah, bitch dead. So in doing this, I found this resource of RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, and that's the U.S. nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization. And they have this article about safety tips for online dating and dating apps, stemming from matching and talking to people and the type of information that you give, all the way to meeting up with them and how to navigate and keep yourself safe during that. So I felt that was nice to include and share with the peoples.
Cool. We will put that in the show notes for this episode. Up next, scientists are sending sperm to the moon. Find out what the heck is going on and why after this. But first, let's talk about caring for thyself. Self-care is a two-way street. There's you and there's the products that you use. That's why you deserve a brand that puts the same care into their products that you put into yourself, like Native. Native cares about what you put on your armpits. That's why their deodorants ingredients list includes things you've actually heard of, like coconut oil and shea butter. Another plus, none of their products are tested on animals and almost everything is vegan. Native is free to try and every product comes with free shipping within the US plus free 30-day returns and exchanges. Plus, they have options. Native has a line of sensitive deodorants for people with baking soda sensitivities, plastic-free deodorants if you're trying to cut out your plastic consumption, and even unscented options for people who like their natural scents. And if you want to try something a little different, you can check out their rotating seasonal scents, which I personally love. It's actually about time for me to hop on the spring collection because my winter stuff is actually just about done. You can even subscribe to Native so you'll never have to sweat about running out of deodorant again. Ba-bum, psh. Make the switch to Native today by going to nativedeo.com. Make the switch to Native today by going to nativedeo.com/IHU or use promo code IHU at checkout and get 20% off your first order. That's nativedeo.com/IHU and use promo code IHU at checkout for 20% off your first order. Now let's come on the moon. Or something.
Or something like that. Yes, there will be some type of come on the moon, hopefully, or that's the idea. So scientists have begun to lay plans for repopulation, starting with a sperm bank on the moon. This is an article, the New York Post. A lot of it is lifted from this. The language is kind of funny, but yes, starting with a sperm bank on the moon. And what they're calling a modern global insurance policy, mechanical engineers have proposed that humans establish a repository of reproductive cells, sperm and ova from 6.7 million of Earth species, including humans. And the proposed bank, or ARC, would be beneath the Earth's surface, the moon's surface. I apologize. So yeah, I did put Noah's Ark story because I didn't know if people knew. Like, not everyone knows that story, but I mean, I do. But does no one know that story? Was that stupid?
I don't know anyone who doesn't.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Even if they
Happy
don't fuck with
Easter.
it.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this common tale of Noah's Ark. But basically, the story goes, to save humanity, they take 2 of every species. So they're trying to do the same thing here, but with animals and all that stuff as well. As our planet faces natural disasters, drought, asteroids, and the potential for nuclear war, to name a few troubles, nothing, something light. Science.
The fact that they put asteroids in there. There's no impending asteroids.
It did put asteroids. It's just.
It is definitely climate change.
And it's not there. It's just like everything else,
Natural disasters. New York Post is such good trash.
Asteroids, yeah.
Name a new few. True troubles. They were trying to be cute. Scientists say that humans must set their sights on space travel to preserve life as we know it. I believe Elon Musk recently tweeted about space travel, and someone was like, "Can we focus on Earth, please, for like 1 second?" There's a lot of shit going on here. Earth is a naturally volatile environment, said study author Jakan Thanga. Due to the planet's instability. Due to the planet's instability, he said, an Earth-based repository would leave specimens vulnerable. As such, Thanga proposed jumpstarting a planetary exodus of sorts by founding a human seed vault on the moon as soon as possible. It would store reproductive cells in recently discovered lunar pits from which scientists believe lava once flowed billions of years ago. On the moon, the pits in the ground lead to lava tubes, now hollow, that reach down some 80 to 100 meters underground, making them ideal for protecting precious cargo from lunar elements. The so-called ark, according to Thanga's presentation, would be then cryogenically preserved, and it would preserve various species in the event of global disaster. We can still save them until the tech advances to then reintroduce these species. In other words, save them for another day. I didn't think that you had to say that, but I get that. Save them for another day. They're also the perfect size for cell storage. They go down 80 to 100 meters underground and provide ready-made shelter from the surface of the moon, and it endures major temperature swings. They said that many plants and animals are seriously endangered and cited the eruption of Indonesia's Mount Toba 75,000 years ago as a reason for worry, saying that it caused a 1,000-year cooling period and, according to some, aligns with the estimated drop in human diversity. He sees that as a current day parallel due to human activity and other factors that we fully don't understand. And there's been rapid losses over the last few decades. The ARC concept is actually already being employed at the, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, Svalbard Global Seed Vault, housing plant seeds that is on the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen in the Arctic Circle, where scientists say the massive stone structure can endure undisturbed by humans or elements. There are 992,000 unique samples, with each containing an average of 500 seeds. Thanga then added he was surprised by how cost-effective the mission could be, according to this back-of-an-envelope estimation. According to his back-of-an-envelope estimations. Mm-hmm. Is that what it is? Estimations. Yo, words. To transport 50 samples of each species, about 6.7 million target, which would take 250 rocket launches. Okay, surprisingly cost effective. By comparison, 40 launches were required to build the International Space Station, which sits in low orbit Earth, far closer to the moon. So, my thoughts, other than this kind of being cool, I can't be that biased against, hey, let's cryogenically freeze some shit, because I'm there too. So exactly. So it's just like, yes, I understand that a lot of people are subscribing to that. Like, let's just save ourselves for another day. But who chooses the samples, and are they being fair? I tried to look up some type of public information on the contents of what the vault might be, or even if they thought about the demographic layout or anything like that. But it's just a concept, so there's nothing concrete. But it feels like this could eventually lead to some bias on who survives. And while I love the concept, it does scare me, because I remember I'm a Black woman, and that leaves me in a weird place on the priority spectrum. It's just, Yeah. Are we talking about just who we deem fit in terms of the two? It doesn't say two, but if I'm thinking about the arc, like there's a whole bunch, there's one of each animal. So it's just going to be 2 humans in there, which doesn't seem likely, but who chooses?
Yeah, is it just 2 of each?
It's supposed to be
Not clear.
samples of each species. It doesn't say exactly of each, but I'm just going by if they were going by the most basic concept, but I highly doubt it. There's probably going to be way more human samples than that.
Wait, I definitely think there'll be a lot more samples of that. Like even when we're just thinking of like IVF, they're like they're combining like 8 zygotes, like 20 of them niggas.
Yeah.
And inserting like 8 because the chances of actual reproduction is low, you know. So it might be lots of samples.
Yeah.
If the goal really is to like repopulate another planet.
Yeah, you need math.
You need a lot. Yeah.
Tons. But what if it's only the cool animals?
Yeah, you know, what if like somebody just like not fucking with butterflies and they're like, nah, I'm on the team, they're not coming with us.
Are definitely gonna be.
No, I was like, butterflies are cool animals, but the moths, like those are biased. Like people are biased to moths when they're
those
just
are butterflies.
Very plain.
Yeah, see?
I think that any sort of scientist who's doing their due diligence would not just do cool animals, because like the whole thing with Earth is that like species are fucking dying off and like tipping with the balance of Earth or whatever. So like you need all parties to arrive, but like where are they gonna go?
Yeah,
that's my thing. Like if the Earth is fucking destroyed,
you can't put roaches on the moon. They're not gonna survive.
Now you know roaches
gonna go back to fucked up ass Earth.
Yeah,
like
the roaches are gonna take over the.
It's some Wall-E shit. Yeah, I was just about to say it's some Wall-E shit where they're just like floating and they're waiting for the Earth to get better.
Floating. I mean, they could. I know that one thing with because it's not necessarily colonizing, because you're not planning on staying on the moon, but they're always searching for viable planets, even though they're mad fucking far away. But if this is like a long-term plan, like it's possible to move them niggas over, like Interstellar, my favorite movie on the fucking planet. But that's essentially what they did. I don't know about the animals, but they definitely did it with the humans, and they started a whole fucking colony floating around Jupiter and shit. But I'll be like, what if this is a whole colony of just white people?
Yeah. I mean,
white adjacent people. I don't see that being like highly unlikely.
Yeah.
I think anything is very likely in the fucking society that we live in. # we live in a society. And like one of my favorite things when it comes to science communication and stuff like that is to talk about weird shit like that is very far off. That I think like you need to have people like Rodeka and Rob and Akua and Sam being like, wait, it can't only be white people, to like get it into these people's brains who are actually running these programs and things like that to want to diversify their samples, because like majority of the time they're not thinking about it anyway, because they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
they're like so in the stars that they're like not in tune with like what's going on in the ground. So just keep talking about it, I guess, like push them to actually diversify their samples so that, you know, when niggas are living on Enceladus, there's like seasoning in the chicken and shit like
that. Release the data.
My question is, Rodeka, the figure that you mentioned was like $6.5 billion. Can we not just, or, you know, it was billions of dollars nonetheless. Why we can't invest that in just saving the planet we on now?
You know, I actually have gripes with things like that because there's a lot of fucking money, nigga. $6.5 billion is a small part of these trillions of fucking dollars. Like, I'm very for like putting money into flights of fancy, weird scientific shit. Why do we need to invest that trillions of dollars? Because this is a fraction of like what we invest into like war.
Yep.
Small I think that this could fucking happen. I think we could remove shit from other types of things.
Okay. I agree.
Because we got 30 billion a fucking year for like the military budget.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
But the thing about it also with like investing and saving the world is it's not just us. It's so many other countries contributing. At this point, almost every country that's ever been fucking colonized, which is almost every country, contributes in one way or another to climate change. And we don't have a global partnership in stopping it.
We have the Paris Accord.
But I mean, a global partnership that's actually working.
I mean, yeah, because niggas don't fucking
You
want to
can't.
give up enough stuff.
It's like we can't. Like it's not. It's almost. It's so hard for a lot of countries and a lot of people to be sustainable because being sustainable is not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Being sustainable costs a lot of money. So I can see it being more likely that the planet is just going to fucking die out, and that in order for humans to survive, we got to save some embryos, unfortunately. And it's not going to be anytime soon, but just in the trajectory that it's going and the research that I've done, it's like, it's not too little too late, of course, but by the time it's like, oh shit, this is like, we really need to do something.
It's the process of working together that I get. It's like becoming an issue, because when they did think of something, Trump was like, nah, I'm not going to be a part of that shit. Like, I'm good. Even though the US is like one of the worst offenders in terms of pollution, and just like the earth is dying a lot of the time because of rich white people. We talked about this before. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, there's a lot of rich white people here. So
the poor suffering because of it.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's sacrificing your comfort. And that's why people like Elon Musk, who like has millions of dollars, is like, yeah, I fucked up this planet, but like billions of dollars. I apologize. Yes, he has an unfathomable amount of money at his disposal. But like for him, it's easy for him to focus on the stars because he can go there, like literally, as opposed to someone like me, where it's just like, yeah, that sounds cool, but this earth is really kind of all I have, and it's the only thing that I can afford to stay on. So maybe we should probably fix that. It's just making the focus. I think it should be both. And I like Sam said, in terms of like, I was looking at the budget, like I got really interested in politics because of the show, because before that, it's just like shit was happening. But like, when you look at the budget and you see, oh yeah, we're cutting funding for science in general, and we're just going to put it all in the military. You're just like, can I get a smidge of that over here? Because we can't do anything. We literally can't do anything because we don't have the money. And I think lately everyone's just kind of been harping on humans and Earth in general. We're like, we chose debt. Like we had all the options to make a utopia or a lot of that. We're just going to keep owing each other money and making each other miserable. And that's exactly what's happening. We're not investing in the right places.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Save the world.
Yay.
I don't think, even though I talk about it a lot, I don't think that the utter destruction of Earth is inevitable. Well, Earth is not going to be destroyed. It's a rock. It's fucking going to be there until the end of the solar system. But I don't think the utter destruction of human life and animal life and plant life on Earth is inevitable. But I do think that just like believing that it's inevitable will make it inevitable. Like, I think there has to be a big fight and a big policy push and a big like on these fucking right people's asses to like change stuff around. And if we just give up, like it will be destroyed. So yeah.
Keep the hope.
Keep the hope alive.
This is such like it's such a somber topic.
I know.
I want
it is very
because it's like it's our fucking Earth. What's up, Akua?
I was gonna say, because this made me cackle in my head, so now I have to share it with you guys. When Rodeka said the professor's name, I nicknamed him that thing be thangin'.
Yo, I saw it and I was like, I wanted to say thangin', but I was like, you know what? Let me respect this man's name before I say
this man. But that came up.
Okay, well, if we're being honest, then in the very beginning, when Sam was saying, like coming on the moon, I thought of like a circle jerk of just humans standing around the moon and just
doing it.
And I was like, don't say anything.
You know that meme in space where like it has been all along, like it was always come. It always has been.
Always come. The clouds are come. Glad to come from coming.
All right.
Sorry.
That was very fun. Okay. Up next, Rebecca is going to tell us all about her experience. Oh no! Up next, Rob is going to tell us all about their experiences with sex, love, and dating during a panoramic. But first, is the conversation in this episode so far resonating with you? Is it helping you learn some new shit? Is it helping you unlearn some old shit? Or is it just allowing you to have a good ass time?
Yeah!
There we go. Nigga, We love to hear that. We also love for you to support the continuation of conversations like these. If you're listening to us on a podcast app, take a moment to subscribe to us or drop 5 stars and leave a rating for the homies. If you got a little extra change, you can drop some cash in the PayPal by going to paypal.me/innerho, or you can come join our Patreon community and access our chat and virtual events for as low as $2 a month by going to patreon.com/innerhouprising, or you can just hit up your friend and say, yo, listen to this podcast. It's a very good podcast. We love and thank you all for your continued support. Now, let us get into our next segment.
I got situations, my love, but you can still come through. Everything's on deck. Liquor, weed, and the crew. We could do what we do. That's a party on the weekend. That's a party on the weekend. She love the party on the weekend. She love the party.
You gotta watch this shit on YouTube. It's just 4 different vibes going on. You know how I know Akua is a parent? Because she closes her eyes whenever music comes on.
Wow, she has to escape a little.
So retreat in my place right here.
That's how you meditate. Close your eyes while you listen to music. Go somewhere.
You gotta get your brief moments in. I respect it. All right, this is Fuck Me. It's a segment where we're talking about our sexual, romantic, and dating lives. And Rob has a tale for us, and that's coming with a that's coming with a Patreon exclusive in a couple of days too.
Yeah. Be out here. Subscribe to Patreon to read a nigga right or whatever. So I wrote about. Well, hey, let's back up. First, me and Sam. Like I was talking about writing about dating as a first responder during the pandemic. We spoke about this shit mad long ago, and I kept trying to write, and that shit is mad hard sometimes. It took me a literal month in so many drafts, very short drafts where I was like, this sucks. And not like I was beating myself up. It just wasn't right. Or I was beating myself up when I was writing, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking post me berating myself. So I had to take my time, and some good shit came out, and I really cannot wait for y'all niggas to read me talking about my fantasies and shit. It's very sexy and also kind of sad, but what really inspired it was, as a first responder during the pandemic, I was dating, looking for a kind of support that I just really couldn't fucking get. And it wasn't the healthiest way to date, because it was like dating, trying to make niggas what they truly were not. Niggas that I was with were not compassionate. They were not patient. They were not understanding. They were not empathetic. It was just very me not saying anything at most points, because I'm like, I don't really know what to say because you fucking suck and I don't want to waste my time. Just give me sex and go home. Please don't stay here. So it took a while, to the point where I was like, cool, I have to stop dating. I have to figure this shit out on my own, because nobody's gonna help me figure it out for myself. And that's what I did. So writing this article was kind of like me collecting all the things that I've learned in the past year and putting them down, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, but also about what is important to me in a partner, what kind of morals and values I need them to have, how I want to be understood, how I want them to be able to also read my nonverbal language, because I'm still working on being verbal about the things I don't want, as well as the things I want. Like, I don't want you to touch me right now, nigga, kind of set up. And I also touched on, I had to be honest during it too, which was something, there's this one part that I didn't want to write, but I had to write. And it was about this moment, like for at least a couple of months, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, where I was wilding the fuck out on social media. And it was just me posting like wild, lusty, racy ass photos, which is nothing wrong with it, except for the job fields that I'm in and the people who I had follow me. These niggas did not need to be seeing me in that light at all, because these were like my coworkers who I have to put on this stoic ass face while I'm at work with, but they see me like almost butt ass naked. And for me personally, it was very attention seeking, and I didn't realize it. Um, and then once I did realize it, I felt weird because I couldn't take it back. I couldn't take back how people saw me and viewed me at that moment. And I wish that somebody would have been like, yo, my nigga, you are wildin'. Because niggas told me after the fact when I brought it up, like, yeah, you was wildin'. I'm like, why didn't you say something? Because it didn't really occur to me that I was wildin', because I was going through some shit. You know, you don't really know when you going through some shit until you no longer going through some shit sometimes. And even doing that, it kind of brought the wrong kind of niggas into my life. 100%. Like the niggas who were being mad thirsty but giving me the attention, those were the niggas I chose to give my time to, and they wanted only what they saw on social media, nothing more. So it's a very honest little piece. It's very short, very poetic. I wrote it in prose because obviously that's the only way I could fucking write. But it's a good parallel between, if you niggas listen to the very sad, horrible decisions episode where I spoke about my fantasy, I know, right? Like, why did why did we go back there? But I spoke about a very specific fantasy. And I actually wrote down the specifics of this fantasy, like of the every little detail, the time frame that this fantasy always takes place in. And I did that in parallel to what was actually going on at that time and why those little bits and pieces were so important in this fantasy. And then after I was done writing it, I went and I jerked off to the fantasy, and I nutted exactly when I said I would, which is when this nigga kisses me at the very end of the fantasy. We don't have sex in this fantasy. It's just a whole lot of care and patience, and it was a fruit fly trying to find my mouth. And the niggas, like this nigga just very much get out of here, showing me the love and attention that I needed after coming home from a really fucked up day, saving or trying to save people during the pandemic. So I really hope that you niggas read it. I really hope that if you are not on Patreon, that you spend the bread if you can to read it, because it is unfortunately, but fortunately for us, but unfortunately for you, behind a paywall. But I think that it, as well as our other content, is definitely worth viewing. And I think that I'll be writing more. It wasn't that cathartic, but it was nice to just get it out, because I have a story like G shit that really needs to be told.
Nice.
I dig it a lot. I can't wait to read it. Open that up and get into it.
It looked like you were opening an asshole, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, what is
He was like,
I said, I
That's
can't wait
not
to
bad.
open it up.
It's crazy in there. What's going on over there?
It's a little warm in there. I don't know if you're ready for that, but a little stinky.
Musty.
Funny.
Asshole, man.
Well, thank you for sharing, Rob. Yeah, I hope you
Yes.
folks read it. Yeah, I will link it on Patreon. And if you're not on Patreon, then that takes you a link directly to Patreon, and then you can punch in your little credit card information and you can read it. And if you're already on Patreon, it'll be unlocked and you can read it there. So yeah. And it'll be open to all tiers. Cool. All right, Rodeka, we're wrapping it up with you and your couples therapy and polyamory struggles.
Okay. I think I talked. I feel like I did, but I guess I didn't. I'm currently. What universe am I in? I don't know. I highly recommend that people do it.
Can you start from the top? Sorry, my internet cut out, so it's gonna out on the video.
So I'm currently in couples therapy, and I was saying that I would highly recommend that people do it. And in regular therapy, now that I'm here, a part of the threshold of people who are in therapy, I just feel like I just want to recommend, therapizing, exactly. But in couples therapy specifically, I'm not gonna front. I was really thinking that everything that I ever thought was right, and I was just gonna have this like confirmation from another person. I was in it like, of course we could do therapy because I just get another person in the room who's on my side. And I think, yeah, I'll admit that. But it was one of those things where no. But that's the thing. I was going into it.
But
I'm being honest. It's the worst. It's the worst. But I was humbled, obviously, because I am not right all the time. I don't know how y'all didn't know this, but I just found out that I'm not right all the time. No, and it's very much one of those things where it does what it's supposed to do, which is a person who's not going to be on one person's side and is just like trying to facilitate conversation and making us have these conversations that we realized we were talking in circle. And a lot of times we'd be saying the same things without realizing it. And I think it's important to stop and really think, all right, I want to have this conversation in therapy. I want to flesh this out. I want to make sure that we can grow from this, as opposed to like, we felt like we were in a place where we were having the same conversations, but not getting better for it. And that was something that we always prided ourselves in the beginning of our relationship, where it was just like, we could talk about anything. We solve everything. But, you know, living with a person, it's terrible. It's not terrible, but it's like, it's intense. It's really, and I gotta say it, y'all, it's really intense. It's like, there's no, okay, your time is really almost automatically someone else's, unless you say like, yo, this is my time, like, please go. Like, I'm in this room, I'm in this living room, but it wasn't necessarily supposed to be couples time. It was supposed to be Rebecca time. I'm watching this, but this is your living room, so where else am I gonna go, you know? And that was something that we were struggling with, where we got into this like big argument about him watching Soul without me. And I mean, like, it sounds so silly, but it was like one of those things where it's like, I'm right there. Like, don't front like I'm not in the other room, bro. Like, you could ask me if I wanted to watch this. And then it turned into like realizing that we come from different, and this is having this conversation in therapy, realizing that we come from different like backgrounds. Like, to me, if I'm in the house and my sisters and my mom are watching something without me, I feel like they hate me. Whereas opposed to for him, he's the only child, so he watches shit by himself because that's what he does. So it's like one example of not ever, I don't think I would have ever reached that realization for certain things if I wasn't having this conversation with a therapist, but also having this conversation with therapists on my own and realizing things that are my own hangups. But then also there's the extra layer, because we wanted to tell we wanted to tell our therapist that we were poly, because we were also having like conversations about that. But that didn't happen just because we were like, we don't want to really disclose this. And then that person's like uncomfortable with us, or like, it's just like not the same dynamic that we had before. But in saying that, I think now we're just starting to explore like what poly is, because things are opening up slowly. And like, I've made connections with people. And I think that we had like this bubble with COVID where we weren't really doing anything, and it was just the two of us. And then like, when I started feeling myself getting a connection with another person, it was like, oh, like, we have to bring this conversation back up, because yeah, like, it's not, I never intended, and we never, for me anyway, for it to ever be fully monogamous. So that's been something that we've been working through as a couple, but it's been tough because like, I had a problem where, not a problem, but I was trying to figure out what poly was for me. And I realized that it's like leaning towards solo poly, where it's like my relationship with myself and my autonomy is the most important thing. So it's just been moments where I felt like I was trapped and like, nah, I'm not going to do this. I had moments where I was just like, nah, I'm running away from all this. But luckily I have a pretty supportive partner. So I don't want to say that he didn't let me break up with him, but he didn't. So it just didn't happen. I was just like, I want to run from this because it's hard, and I don't want to hurt you, and I don't want to put you in a position where like you feel like you're getting the shorter end of the stick and blah, blah, blah. But like, in using my resources and using this phenomenal show, I remember our conversation about new relationship energy and old relationship energy. I leaned into that. I went back and listened to the solo polyamory episode. Just know that we do this for y'all, but we also do it for ourselves. So like, I went back and I was just like, you know, this is what this is. We can define this. We can figure this out. But we talked about it, but polyamory is hard. Relationships are hard. Polyamory is hard. It's like, you know, you're feeling this buzz from this new person who's like complimenting you, and you're like, oh yeah, like this person's feeling me. But then like, you're like, well, I got to make sure that I'm pouring the same love and the same energy that I'm getting from this person. And I'm like, making sure that the person that I know that I want to spend, that's heavy. I'm not going to say that. Heavy things really disturb me. But yes, someone that I really
a long period of time.
Yes, someone that I'm very fond of. I know that I want to respect them. And that's been the issue. Like I have a date today and I'm just like, okay, I'll be back. And it's just like making sure, like keep checking in and making sure that everything is okay. But yeah, I think at one point in time I was struggling on whether or not I actually was poly, but I for sure am, just because I've had these experiences and I realized that that's just like the life that I want to lead. And I definitely, it resonates with me. And I used to be afraid that I wouldn't be able to feel something for two people as strongly, but like apparently I'm capable. So here I am. And you know, yeah, we're just trying our best, I think. And oh yeah, Rob actually sent me something for couples therapy, the show, and we have an interview on Monday, so we might be. Yeah,
sorry,
so
I didn't mean to scream, but
we'll see. But it's like, yeah, I thought it was funny that I was like, yeah, I'm actually in couples therapy like on my own accord, and now it's like I might actually be on couples therapy.
Because I sent that because I remember you saying, and I knew that you still didn't bring up being polyamorous to your therapist.
Yes.
But I knew that that show would probably be a place you can be more open about it, because I think that it's like, if you're in couples therapy and if you could find a therapist that is willing to talk to you and in the polyamorous sense, like guiding through insecurities and jealousy, like that shit is mad important.
Yeah.
I've never met a person who's been able to talk to their therapist about that. That shit is super fucking important. It'll make your relationship so fucking cool.
Yeah. And that's something like that would be like so easy, not easy, but it'd be so much better to be like, oh, we were thinking about, like at one point in time, we were thinking about separating our rooms, but for someone who only knows like, or is only familiar with like very traditional monogamous relationships, for them, like even when I mentioned it for a little bit, I could tell they were kind of like, is something wrong? Like, and I was like, no, it's because I want my own space. And like, I still love this person, but I want to have my own space and we can live simultaneously in the same house, but not necessarily share the same room. But it's hard to educate them on that process and I just want the advice on how I do this without like making this person feel left out. So it would be nice to just have like a full conversation and say, well, why is he upset at me? Because I told him I was going to be home late, but 10 o'clock was different than his. Yeah, like stuff like that. It's just different than coming back from a date and explaining that to someone who's very monogamous and very like, so when are you guys getting married? Which didn't happen, but she was dancing on that. I was like, don't do this over here. Yeah. So it's hard. And you're asking someone to challenge like a lot. And I don't want to put that on everyone, but yeah, it would be nice to just have these open conversations about everything that's going on so that we can get some clarity on it. So we'll see, but it's exciting. Yeah. I'll definitely let y'all know how the interview goes. It's tomorrow. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't go well,
you did.
Their fucking name out of this episode. Don't fuck with us, Showtime.
Facts.
Hands.
Straight up hands.
Just kidding. We don't want lawsuits.
That's not really the smoke we want.
Yeah. But yeah,
that's really cool.
That's it, y'all. Thanks.
Thanks
I'm
for
really
the
glad
update.
to hear all that. It all sounds like it's you're really out here growing.
Yeah.
That shit is really dope.
Thank you.
I feel like every time I get on a call at Rodeck, I'm like, yo, you're really living with a whole, because I feel like it's so intense.
She literally does say this.
She does that every time, and it's very funny.
So intense. Like, I cannot imagine living with a whole other nigga.
Yeah. It's a
You're the first.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a
that I
strange
didn't
occurrence.
birth. Like no.
You're the first
like,
out of all of us.
How are you doing it? Like, so I'm glad that you have acknowledged that it is intense, because I'm on the outside like, yo, how?
Oh yeah. I like masturbation has been an issue because I'm just like, if I do this, like when I'm usually supposed to do it in my own bed, I don't want it to be an us thing, but you're here. So it's just like, do I go? Do I, it's been a lot.
Important conversations to have.
It's important conversations that you don't think about having until you're like, oh, these are things that I'm just used to rolling over and doing. And if I don't want to involve you, I don't want you to take it personally. It's just, this is me time. So it's just like, yeah, it could be watching TV, but it's also like, damn, can I just diddly myself and not have you involved?
I thought the soul anecdote was so, that was so interesting to me. It does seem like such a mundane thing.
And I mean, like, it was Christmas
like
Day.
that.
It was Christmas Day, and it ruined Christmas for both of us. And it's like, when you look back at it, you're like, really? But it was so
also really
personal for me. Like,
watching Soul on Christmas.
I walked out and I was like, like what? Like
This
to me, it's
nigga
like,
did
are you
who?
dead at like? And then the thing was, right afterwards, I was like, you dead eyes, and I was like, it's not that big of a deal. But then I came in here to play some games, and I heard Wonder Woman on. Granted, Wonder Woman's terrible, but I was
Wonder
like,
Woman
we gotta kill this
1984
nigga
by himself.
We gotta kill this nigga. That's too much.
And I said,
Get it?
there's no fucking way he turned on another movie. So I went out, and it was just like, and then I felt bad because afterwards he was like, that's genuinely not something that I thought that was important, because we never had that conversation. It was just like, we always tend to watch stuff together, but I had never expressed how important that is to me. And it's just like learning that not everything is innate in a person, because in the moment I was like, I didn't even want to say, I was like, what you did. And I've never seen a more like, I literally have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And like in that moment I was like, and then when we talked to the therapist, she was just like, everyone comes with things, and did you ever tell them it was important to you? And I never did. And it was just like, he's just like, I swear to you, I just like it, for me, it's me. Christmas morning is me turning on TVs and watching things on my own and being like, so like we had the conversation. I still am like you knew, but at the same time, I know like it's different. It's just you do communal things, and that's what you're used to when you have siblings, when you have like this. But if you're just like used to doing things on your own, you're very independent. Who am I to take 28 years and say you got to change it all up for me? So then I just said, like that's important to me for like family and for traditions. Like let's do things together. So we had that conversation, but yeah, it was really learning that the things that I assume that everyone does, because I've always dealt with people with like certain dynamics in their family, it's just learning not to have a person what you expect them to be, or this idea that you have, and just really just taking them at face value and learning who they are and where they come from really does make a difference. But yeah.
I also love that you were very honest about going into therapy, thinking that, this person will side with you, because that happens when I'm seeing couples. And I'm like, I'm about to read both of y'all. So I say it up front. Do not think I'm about to be taking sides, because I will tell, especially when my clients bring their spouses into for a session and they really think I'm about to be on their side because I done heard the backstory. No, Rosalind, I'm about to tell you why you were fucked up in this too.
Yeah.
Everybody got a role to play in this bitch. Like,
there's 2 sides, there's 3 sides to every story.
Yeah.
And the last side is the coolest side.
And I'm about to tell you exactly where y'all had each other fucked up.
Yeah. I was glad that I was very humbled though. Like it's good to learn and not always feel like, because I swear to, I was like, and it's a Black woman, we out here like
this not my even bitch over
I was
here.
Like, we gonna be sitting here getting on you, nigga, like yo, you fucked up. And then little did I know, it's just like, so did you ever take into consideration his feelings? I'm sorry.
I will block you.
I was like, what is this? I started thinking it was a setup. I was like,
Rosika grabbed her purse and was like, we're going. I don't like this. No.
You know what I signed up for.
Think about his feelings. What the fuck are you talking about? I was perplexed, but that is something you should take into consideration. Yeah. And I think it's just coming with like age and realizing that like, not everything is black and white. Not everything is the way that it's supposed to be on TV or whatever. And yeah, I definitely think therapy for yourself and as a couple, it does not have to be when things are going wrong. We had one session where everything was going right, and it was nice to just look at each other and be like, you good too? We feel good. And it was just like that affirming thing where it's just like, yeah. And then it was just like a positive session where we just talked about the things that we liked about each other and all that type of stuff. It doesn't have to be, yeah.
And when I tell you your therapist too loves those positive sessions, because niggas be tired, okay?
Yeah.
It's always a problem. Y'all don't like each other at all. They're like, but no, I'm like, so let's get into what you like this week, because I'm tired of hearing about what we didn't like today. I'm tired. What do you like about a nigga? Why are you together then?
I like nothing.
Fix it. Like that's exactly what it is. Nothing. Fix it. Yeah, but no,
that's when the work is cut out for you. And it really is nothing. Oh, child.
That was fun. Last thing before we wrap up, where are you going on your date today?
To the catacombs in St. Peter's. Yeah, they were like,
what? What's
catacombs? I've never knew that they were catacombs in New York or like anywhere. It's just like, I assume, and this is what I remember, it's like an underground tavern or like pathways with like bodies in it and stuff or whatever. Like I don't know, right? That's what it is. Let me see.
I think it's
Catacombs.
Because now I'm both intrigued and scared.
Which is the best kind
yeah.
of thing.
It's a human-made subterranean passageway for religious practice. Any chamber is used as a burial place is a catacomb. So it's exactly that. Yeah, it's when you walk through it and it's like, I just like history. So they were like, yeah, let's go here. So I thought it would be really cool. And we try it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yay.
Look at the smile. We love to see it.
Oh,
Look at Rebecca.
My existence is being perceived.
Yes. We love to see it. I identify.
All right.
Cool. Well, that has been a great episode. Everybody really bought their A game. Love you guys, man.
Oh, buddy.
Aw.
Oh, bud.
Oh, pal.
If this episode made you laugh, helped you learn something, made you feel good, made you question yourself in a good way, or positively moved you in any sense, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher and let everyone you know that you love these hoes. We appreciate all of you.
And if you would like to follow us on social media, you can do so at Inner Hoe Uprising without the G on Twitter, Inner Hoe Uprising on Instagram and Facebook. You can join our Facebook group by searching Inner Hoe Uprising Community or CUMMUNITY. Head over to innerhoeuprising.com to pay a hoe. And if you would like to follow me, you can follow me at The Darkest Timeline on Instagram. And for my Finsta, you can follow me at Fat Black Snack on Instagram.
What's a Finsta?
It's my fake Instagram where I just like put bullshit up there and talk about.
Oh, it's a shit post?
Yeah, but not really. I'm not good at shit posting. It's just like me talking about life and perks.
How's it fake?
Because it's not my main one. Like my family's on my main one. I don't want my family on my other one because I could talk shit about.
Okay. I'm always very perplexed about Finstas. My bad for sidetracking, but
I think everyone has a different reason. I said perks.
Your life in parks?
No. There was like this thing where it's just like, yes, I've tried therapy, and it's like perks. It's just the perks had like Percocets. Yeah. It's okay.
Oh my god.
I tried to explain that out loud. If you see it, you're gonna be like, yeah, that made more sense than what you just did. But yeah, go on my Fat Black Instagram to see it. But yeah, it's just me talking like about like therapy or like how I feel instead of that being on my regular Instagram, which I already do. It's more in depth and it's just like posts.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rebecca's Finstagram. Shout out to everybody's Instagram. Everybody has their personal good things.
Yeah.
Rob has photo shoots. Cool has Dave taking over.
Literally, it's Dave's Instagram.
You guys can follow that at Hey Akua Girl. That is HEYYAKUAGIRL on Instagram, Clubhouse, Twitter. Yeah.
And you can follow me at Smoking PP on Instagram. I do not be posting on my story no more, but I will at some point. You can see my beautiful face every fucking day. And also you can follow me on Twitter at _body.
I'm Slamrid on Instagram, Twitter, and Clubhouse. You can check those out for very cool things. And you can make the switch to native today by going to Native Dio. Gotta get this money, y'all.
Yeah, man. Get some fucking native. Get some flavors like a cool be saying.
Yes.
What's your flavor? nativedo.com/IHU or promo code IHU at checkout. Have a lovely week because you motherfucking deserve to. Bye.
Bye.